Good afternoon, fans, and welcome back to the Hawks Hangout podcasts. I am Samuel, and today, like always, I am joined by Corey. Corey, what's going on, mate?
Mate, just getting over a big festive season. Had a great time. How was your Christmas, mate?
It was good, mate. I can tell you've had a long one. You've got more grey hairs than usual. So.
Yeah. Oh, no, mate. That's tough, but it was a good day with the family. Big shout out to my sister, Gina Honeyset. Put on a great spread. Even had some leftovers the next day, but beautiful, beautiful food. Loved
Beautiful,
it,
mate.
Loved it.
Lots of beers, I can presume.
Mate, terrible day to be a beer, I have to say.
100%.
Cheers, my man.
Cheers.
Representing a couple of local breweries here. Principal Brewing, all right, in Fairy Meadow. All right, great drop. And you, Sammy?
We've got Cerveza from Seeker Brewing in Unondera. So
Yeah, nice.
Shout out to those boys. Doing some good drops. If you guys are in the Wollongong region looking for a good beer, definitely hit up those two places before your next Hawks home game, which is on New Year's Eve.
So first game we're going to talk about today is our Christmas Day game. What a day. What a day. All right, they usually say it's the 12 days of Christmas, but it wasn't this time. It was the 12 wins for the Hawks on Christmas Day. What a great performance, Sammy. What do you think?
Oh, I thought it was an amazing game. We touched on last episode that blue-collar work ethic that the boys have, getting down in the mud, getting gritty, getting dirty. The boys just fought back really, really hard that game. We didn't start the best and how we would usually start and how we would like to start, but we definitely finished how we intended to and how we wanted to.
Yeah, definitely a slow start. It was a lot of whistles blown in that first quarter. They went to the line a lot, the Kings, and that let them build and chip away and get that big lead on us. They kept us to 23 points in that first quarter. We lost that first quarter, which ruined my first multi. All the other legs came through. But our man, Ryan Tucker, he didn't have the option of the first quarter on his bet 365. So he went Hawks to win, so he got to collect. So he says if he gets another collect this week on us, he's going to take us to Sweden so we can do a podcast there where he lives. How good. Love
How
you,
good,
Ryan.
mate.
Absolute champion. But, after that slow start, the Hawks had a big second quarter, 35 points they dropped, led by the bathroom, Tyler Harvey, dropping 17 in that quarter. He was huge to keep it close at that halftime. And I don't even think we really played that well in that first half. But to go in at halftime, I'm pretty sure it was level, 58-58.
Yep.
Was huge for us because I think the Kings were like, we've got these guys. We stopped them having a big start. We're gonna finish over the top of them now. And then the Hawks just got on that little run and made it even. And the Hawks went into halftime. You could see that, right?
Yeah. And then coming out of that, though, Corey, to come on that massive run that we then went on, we went up by 13 points there at one stage. We then almost blew it. How do you think that happened? Do you put that to a lack of leadership? Do you put that down to fatigue with the amount of games that we played in that time, coaching decisions? What do you put it down to?
A few things. I think the Hawks traditionally do like to give up a big lead. They've done it a few times this season, but have always been able to bounce back. In the fourth quarter, I think there was a key moment in the game. There was a blocking call made on Trey Curl, Smell the Curl. That was overturned. He would have been at the line shooting 2 to extend the lead to 11. Instead, the call was overturned. The lead stayed to 9. The Kings went down the court, hit a bucket, cut the lead to 6, I believe. There was a 3. Then all of a sudden you get very nervous. I know I was very, very nervous. A big shout out to my main man, Dave Simonite. He had me over to watch the game on Christmas Day. He said even early on when we were down, we've got this, Stampy. Just relax. So I was like, no, I'm just so nervous. But he was right. We had it. But I tell you what, I lost 5 years of my life. I was very, very nervous. That last shot, when it went up, I just prayed it would miss. And then, celebrations began.
Celebrations began indeed. And they continued on celebrating, Corey, into the Brisbane game, which we'll touch on in a second. Now, continuing on with your bathroom thing, talking about someone who was absolutely wet in that game. Absolutely wet. Just could not miss whatsoever. Tyler Harvey. Now, he had some funny shot selections, but once he gets going, he just gets going. He gets in this rhythm. He just gets in, gets it done, and there's just no hesitation whatsoever. What do you attribute that to?
Just confidence. I give that to Tatum. I think that he said to Tyler, you're a shooter, man. Like, if you get open, we run plays for you, you're shooting. I feel like a couple of seasons ago, he's trying to do a little bit too much off the dribble. He's getting open off the ball now and just knocking those threes down, some off-ball screens set for him, and he's coming off those screens and just knocking shots down. He was a little bit, I have to say, a little bit disappointing in the final moments of that game. He had a shot, he had the ball in his hand with about 38 seconds to go. There's still 7 seconds on the shot clock. He shot a deep, deep three that turned into an air ball. I'm being picky here, but when it's an air ball, the clock stops. They don't have to get the rebound. That's not taking time off the clock, so the clock stopped at 38 seconds. Just would have rather him take it all the way down and at least hit the rim. So then that's take another 7 seconds and potentially another couple of seconds on the rebound. Then they've got to push it up the floor. So, yeah, I'm big into end-of-game management. I think the Hawks can probably improve a little bit on that. They took some poor shots and some poor decisions, I think, towards the end of that game. We got away with it. So obviously happy, but you got to keep looking to improve, I think.
Look, as a coach myself, a few of you watching this today would know exactly that I'm with Corey on that. You play till the final buzzer. Had a grand final one a few weeks ago, and we did not play till the final buzzer.
Not talking about this, mate. Come on. You got PTSD over
PTSD over it. So hence the no chip talk. Hence the no chip talk because it's still very, very sore.
Yes.
Now, Corey, you did this last week to me. We're doing it again. We're going back to nicknames, mate. I've heard some rumors. We're doing new players this week. What have you got for me?
Okay, so I've got some new ones. Last week, there was a fair bit of love for some of the nicknames. So got a lot to live up to, I believe. So we're going to start this week with our man, Lockie Ulbrich. I've got him now. Some of my friends like to call him All Bricks, but I'm not having it. I'm not having it. Big disrespect. I'm a big Lockie fan. Instead of All Bricks, I'm going All Heart. The kid just plays with so much heart. That's his nickname, All Heart. And I'm pretty sure he's a good-looking fella. He'd be breaking plenty of hearts off the court as well. So I'm going with All Heart for Lockie. He's a good-looking rooster. He's been working out in the off-season. He's got the Lucky Charms built up. He's looking good, and he just plays with so much heart.
And it's the blonde hair too, mate. Like as a blondie myself, as a fake blonde yourself, trying to cover the greys.
That's it,
like
mate.
you know,
That's
it's just the blonde hair, no matter what.
Next one. All right, here we go. Our man Darius Days. Now, a little bit of a music theme last week for some of the players, so I'm sticking with that. I'm calling Darius Days Powderfinger.
Ooh, great Aussie band.
Great Aussie band. You're going to ask why?
Powderfinger.
What's one of their great songs? I'll sing it for you.
All right, go ahead.
These days turned out nothing like I had planned. Now, Darius, there's a little bit of significance to that song. So these days, they didn't turn out like we really planned. So I'm signing Darius. There was big expectations for Darius this season. He was playing for Shanghai in a preseason game at the Snake Pit against the Hawks, and he went off. In one quarter, I believe he hit 6 or 7 threes. He was on fire. I was remember calling out at the game, man, sign for the Hawks. Come to us. We want you. And then it happened. I'm not saying I was the reason, but it happened. And I was pretty excited to get Darius. I was hoping that he'd be the Gary Clark replacement. Gary was sensational last year. So it probably hasn't turned out how we've really planned it would. But I'm hoping, like, the Hawks have been pretty spectacular this season. And I look at them and think, how can we actually have some sort of improvement? Because it's still a long way to go in the season. It's hard to keep up this level for the whole season. Who can, in our team, can I see some level of improvement? And I think it's Darius. I think Darius can be the guy who really steps up and gives us that little push when we might go through a little flat piece in the season. So I've got high hopes for Darius.
Yeah, and we were looking at it before we got on today. He had an amazing preseason. As you said, he had that game with Shanghai against the Hawks down at the Snake Pit. Absolutely blew the roof off the place. Fans loved him. He had just such charisma about him and such character that definitely fits into the system that we wanted. And when we signed him, he didn't get to play that first game in the preseason, but he came straight in straight away and knocked down. He was having 20-point double-doubles. He was having 22 points, 10 assists, 10 rebounds, 12 rebounds, you name it. He was just an absolute beast. He had an absolute blinder the first game against Cairns at home. And, not at home, they played in Cairns. But, again, absolute blinder. He had 22 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block. He just got in, got it done. And then all of a sudden it's just kind of shifted back towards the back end of this season. But I think Tatum's done a really, really good thing there with him. He's young. He's 23, 24, so not too much older than me. I know what I'm like when I'm on the court. When I get going, I have these games, my ego gets the best of me. I get in, I get it done. I start mouthing off, I start chirping off as we see you do. I know you know what I'm talking about with me. But I think that real shift with the team and trying to bring the egos out of it is something that Tatum's definitely done well with Days, and we're starting to see a return to form with him as well. And having him there in that secondary unit has been an absolute godsend for us. He's in there in the huddles. They do their own huddle for the bench before each game. He's always leading it. He's always getting those boys behind him. He's got Greeter by the ears. He's got Ulbrich by the ears. He's got Hickey by the ears. He's just getting these boys and rallying them together. And you see they come out and they're just in it. They're locked in it from the start, straight away, ready to go. So as much as you say these days turned out nothing like I have plans, I have high hopes.
Let's hope that
high hopes.
It might turn out how we planned. I think the big thing with Darius was, like you mentioned, the move to that 6-man role. I think it's allowed him to come on and give us a little boost, but it's also allowed Mason Peatling to be an integral part of the team. I felt Mason, he's a great leader. Before he was in the starting lineup, he probably didn't really know his role too well. Now he knows, he comes on, and you see a lot early in the game. A lot of plays run through Mason. He seems to get a lot of points early. It might be only like 4 or 6, but he gets us off to that good start, gets a lot of O boards, gets us those 6 agains. That's his nickname. So, yeah, 100%. Like, Darius is going to turn out for us, I know.
Now, another nickname, and I've heard you say it a few times now, but I'll let you introduce it, and it goes to our main man, Dan Greeter. Now, for those of you that know, yes, Dan is a Perth boy and he loves the boys on the podcast and the boys love him and all the rest of it. But, we kind of take him as our own here down in the Gong. He's come in, he's just made the city his own. He had a bit of a rough patch there with injuries there at one stage, but the team kept with him because the energy and everything that he brings is just amazing. So, Corey, what's his nickname?
Okay, so Grids, you're getting Beastie Boy. Beastie Boy. Now, the reason for this, I believe you are a beast on the court. You just leave everything out there. Every play, you can hear the crowd gasp thinking, oh, God, he's going to get injured again. Because he just plays so hard. He's just an absolute beast. But the reason why you're Beastie Boy, they're a hip-hop band from the 90s, and they had a song back in 1994 called Mullet Head, which pretty much gave the term mullet to our wonderful world. So you are the Beastie Boy because you have that incredible, beautiful mullet. I'm trying to match yours, buddy. It's just not quite there, but one day it'll get there.
I don't think anyone could ever replace that Greeter mullet, man. It's just absolutely iconic. Now, you've got one more for me. Just lay it all on me. Lay it all.
Last one. This is big fan of this guy. I'm actually repping his jersey today. Davo Hickey. One of my mates, Mickey D, called him start of the season. He said he's going to be not just the Hawks MVP, he's going to be the league MVP. Now I was like, that might be a little bit too far. But I'll tell you what, he's had a great season, had a good couple of last games as well, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. His nickname, he is the Deadly Love Bite. Now I'm going to explain that to you. The Deadly reference, he's Indigenous background. He's a proud First Nations man, very proud. He also, the love bite, like, he's Hickey. Now, you're a lot younger than me, but I'm a teacher, you're a teacher, and I see kids at school. the Hickey's coming back. I don't know why. Like when we were kids, people were trying to hide them. You'd wear turtlenecks and whatever. Kids like wear it as a badge of honor now. Like you can talk a little bit more about it. What's this Hickey thing? Like I just seriously,
I don't think they're fashionable whatsoever. But hey, I mean, if we're going to start calling them deadly love bites instead, then maybe they're just going to catch on me.
Well,
so
that's his man. That Hickey is the deadly love bite.
Deadly love bite. There you go.
Yes.
Now, second game of the round, Corey.
Mm-hmm.
Brisbane in Brisbane. 3 games in 6 days. Coming off a huge win at Kudos on Wednesday, flying up to Brisbane on the Thursday. It was a day of travel to go straight up there, straight into training, and then straight into a game on the Friday night. Now, we had a pretty good start. We had a 13-3 start. Then we were down by the end of the quarter. Now, Tatum's tactics towards the end of that, I don't know what he's done, but, you know, tell me more about it because...
Okay, so what I'm thinking Tatum's doing, I think it's a deliberate act. I could be wrong. Lots of games in a short period of time. He's, in that first quarter, he's getting everyone on.
Mm.
So we're starting, obviously, with our starting 5, but by the end of that first quarter, he's run through at least 9, maybe 10 players. So he's trying to make sure he's giving those guys an early rest so we need them in the game, but also to check if, like, some of those bench guys are hot. Mm. And if they're hot, he's going to play them a little bit more, which is great for the team. So I don't necessarily hate the tactic. I know the last 2 games we haven't been as dominant in those first quarters as we have in others, but it's okay because I can see what he's trying to do. There's so many games that we're playing. We've got a bunch more coming up too. They come thick and fast through January. Mm-hmm. So I'm actually a really big fan of the tactic. So I was quite happy with it. So moving on, like we were down and then the second quarter started. I felt like we were a little bit flat. Mm. Got down 10 in that second quarter. And it wasn't until there was a really big burst, a quick burst from the bathroom, Tyler Harvey. He just went bang, 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 2 threes in a like typical beautiful Tyler Harvey floater just to end the half. Went in the half down 2, I believe. Yeah, I felt like Brisbane would have been feeling like we'd be up double figures the way they were playing. It was just a little burst in the last minute, and it just gave us that energy again, similar to the Sydney game going to the halftime. And then what happened?
I was going to say, speaking of half times, and we didn't mention it in the Christmas one, but Frawling, come on, mate. Come on. You're the captain of the team. We can't be having antics like that. You can't be having antics where you're getting in punch-ons in the hallways on the way to the locker room at halftime. Like, that's not what the club's about. That's not what we do. And, you know, they tried getting under our skins.
I didn't hear about this. What's this?
You not hear about this?
No,
mate?
Tell me.
Oh, you got to get with the program.
Get with
mate.
the program. I just want to hear you describe it. Come on,
mate.
Tell me.
That's what happens when you go for an afternoon nap, mate.
That's it. Old man syndrome.
Oh, it's basically halftime comes. They're showing the video footage of people leaving the court, and they're both got to go the same way to the locker rooms, which I think's pretty shit in my opinion.
Yeah.
We've got to walk across the court to the Kings bench to then go out all through all the Kings stuff to the locker room. No other team does that. We don't do that. We don't make them cross our court to go out to the change rooms and all the rest of it. They've got their own separate exit and they can go out to their own change rooms. They don't have to walk past us. It's great. Keeps the feisty and all the rest of it. But it's a Christmas Day game against your cross-state rivals, and it's neck and neck at the half off a huge, massive 3 by Trader Kell. Smell the Kell. And they could smell him getting hot. And I don't think Sydney liked that, and I don't think they enjoyed it because they started getting antsy. And we'll talk about the flogs later, and we won't name them all by name because we can.
Can I guess the flog who was the instigator?
Go for it. Guess the flog.
Was it Big Nose Bruce?
Big Nose Bruce didn't start it.
He wasn't sniffing it out again.
He wasn't sniffing it out,
wow.
But he did. There is a video of him, and that's when everyone started to go, "Oh, what's happening?" There is a video of him.
He was too busy talking to the refs at halftime. I get it.
And there's a video of him running from the change room all the way out through the tunnel to come back to it. And I originally thought it was him and Blanchfield having a go at each other because you see him turn to Blanchfield and he sticks his finger in his chest. And I go, okay, something's happened here. But then it came out later on that there was antics between Frawling and Cooks. So don't know what happened there. Don't know if it was some friendly banter or whatever, but antics like that cannot happen.
Maybe they were just exchanging free throw tactics.
Mate, look, we'll start calling them both all bricks in a second because, hey.
Anyway, let's get back to this Brisbane game. So the game just felt like Brisbane were just going to win. And then 61-55 the score was, and it was 5 minutes 30 left in the third quarter. Then from absolutely nowhere to end the quarter, the Hawks went on a 27-7 run and extended that into the fourth to make it a 31-7 run. Incredible, just from absolutely nowhere. And then from that point on, they just kicked on. And from the rest of that, from that point, they won. They ran out 47-23 for the rest of the game from that 61-55 point. Just an incredible run to close out the game. Brisbane, who were just like hot, like 61 points midway through the third to finish on 84 is crazy. So the Hawks cranked up the defense, or Brisbane got a little bit cold. Prather was incredible in that game. I felt like he couldn't miss, and until probably that part where the Hawks got hot in that little 5-minute period, he missed a couple of gimmies that he was making, but he was making some super tough shots, like getting hammered under the basket, still finishing, hitting threes. Yeah. He was just back to old school Perth form when he won championships. I for one didn't think he was capable of this, but I'm super impressed with Prather. He's been incredible. Yeah, incredible.
He was unreal. Like as you said, he had 28 and 3, and whilst he didn't have any assists, he still finished the game with 2 blocks, and he was 11 from 18, which is 61% from the field. And at one point there was no stopping him. It didn't look like he was going to miss. It was almost Bryce Cotton form. And if we're talking about eventual MVPs of the league, I mean, I got to hand it to him. I can definitely see him up there in that conversation. The graphic came out a few days ago with him being up there.
Definitely top 3.
Definitely top 3, in my opinion, for sure. Now, Corey.
Yes.
We got some love and we got some hate for this last week.
Okay.
And there's been some press in the media with Damon Lowry and his comments and all the rest of it. Now, our next segment is a fan favourite. It is Flog Watch. Now, Please remember, these opinions are ours. They don't represent the Hawks. They don't represent the league. They don't represent all fans. It's just two blokes.
And also, they just represent how people show themselves on the court. Like I said, people might think that we're both flogs on the court. 100%. But off the court, I think we're pretty decent blokes. And I'm sure these guys are all decent blokes off the court. But the 3 nominees for last week lived up to their flog status.
Oh.
So let's have a little review of that. Our man, Sean Bruce, he was talking to the refs more than he was playing basketball, I can tell you that. He was knocking people around, bumping into Tyler Harvey. Our man, Deadly Love Bite, was sticking up for him, got in there, got involved. Somehow Bruce got away scot-free. Not too sure how that happens. But he was at his best. He was at his floggy best. And then there was Xavier Cooks, another one. He didn't have a great game, Xavier. He only had 11 and 9. He was, again, in the ref's ears a lot, whinging, complaining, thinking that every time he misses, it's a foul. But our number one guy.
Don't even.
Noi. I'll give him respect. I'll give him respect and credit where credit's due. He had a great game. He always seems to have good games against the Hawks. But, man, like I said, he is annoying. Seriously, mate, I'll give you some tips. Now, every time you score, you're going to have to tell the guy who's guarding you about it. Don't have to stare him down. Don't have to chirp to him. Maybe get back and play some defense, because the Hawks were getting plenty of points for you. Too busy chatting to Darius Days on the floor after scoring every bucket and flexing your not so big lucky charms. So, yeah, mate, just stick to playing basketball, because you're pretty decent at that.
Yeah.
Just not a fan of the chirping and the carry on.
There's no need for it. If it's a high stakes game like it was, but it's a high stakes game like the finals, right? You're there, you're chirping, you're going at it. People are just going to come back and they're just going to give it to you worse. Expect Days to give it back to you worse next time around, mate. We come up against you guys in the finals. you're just going to cop it. You're going to cop it from the deadly love bite. You're going to cop it from Powderfinger. You're going to cop it from All Heart. You're going to get dunked on left, right, and centre. It's going to happen. You'll be telling the crowd to shush, but really, we'll be telling you to shush when you're crying off the court, right? So take a chill pill, play some basketball, because yes, as Corey said, you're great, but you just need to control it, mate. So
let's move on to this week's nominees for Flog Watch.
Oh,
so in the New Year's Eve game, we're playing the mighty Phoenix. So I know a lot of people will be like, "This is a pretty easy pick."
But it is, mate. It is just a league-wide pick.
Tell me who I'll give you one other nominee. I'm pretty confident who you're going to say. There's really only two nominees for the Phoenix. The first one I'm going to say is Ben Air. Mm-hmm. Tell me who you're.
I respect that.
He's just a little bit like he's one of those guys that if you have him on your team, you love him, but if he's on the opposition team, you hate him, which is not bad. Like I feel like I play a little bit like that as well. So I give him a little bit of respect for that, but he just comes across. He's a smaller guy. He's got to play that way. I get it, but it just comes across sometimes as a bit of a flog. Who's your other nominee, mate? I'm pretty sure we all know.
I think it's a league-wide standard at this point, but my flog watch this week's going to the Soapster, Nathan Sobey. I cannot think of a bigger flog playing the game at the moment. Now, if Mitch Creek was still playing for Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, Mitch Creek would be in this conversation.
Yes, true.
Because as much as he's a great player and he's hot when he's hot, I cannot think of a bigger flog playing the game. And anytime he gets that ball in an Illawarra home crowd, that crowd erupts with boos. That crowd erupts.
I agree.
He's not there. And I know you're not allowed to say the Soapster, but I'll take the words out of your mouth and say Nathan Sobey.
I'll explain why I'm eliminating Sobey from the conversation. Now, I can understand why people think he might be a flog on the court, but the great man Sobey, during COVID, for my birthday, he sent me a video shout-out for my birthday, organised by the great man Dan Muller, big Hawks fan. Big shout-out to you, Danny. Love your boy.
Shout-out, Dan.
He organised Sobey to send me a clip wishing me a happy birthday during COVID. He was playing for the Boomers in Tokyo at the time, so that's a huge effort to do that. So much respect to Sobes. So I'm going to eliminate him from my flog watch. You can have him, but he's out of mine.
Well, he's on mine, and I think he's on a lot of people's going into that game. Now, Corey.
Yes.
You have your fun with flog watch.
Yes, I do.
And you have your fun with everything else that you're going to do, and your same game multis. I think I'm going to jump on the bandwagon a bit.
Oof.
So a lot of people have called me a bandwagoner for teams that I support and all the rest of it. Now, I'm going to jump on the bandwagon, and I'm going to do something that the NBL kind of does, but I'm going to make it my own. And it'll be similar to Hoorah and Harden Up that comes out. But I'm going to call it Get Up or Get Out.
Get up.
So getting up, getting it done, getting in that next man up mentality, or just, dude, pack your bags and get out. Pack it up.
This will be interesting.
So my get up for the Xmas game. Dave O'Hickey and Darius Days.
The deadly love bite and Powderfinger.
Deadly love bite and Powderfinger. Now,
nice.
Both of these boys have limited minutes, but they contributed massively on both ends of the floor. Hickey ended with 12, 4, and 5. Days had 10 and 5. Both of these boys got in there, got it done, played their role to perfection, got underneath Sydney's skins, did whatever they needed to do, and eventually we got the win. Now, they're two blokes that are just consistent from form lately. You know,
Hickey had a similar game, similar stats in the earlier game as well. So Brisbane game in the Christmas game, he had very similar stats. So he's had a big 2 games. Yeah. I think with Hickey, again, I'm going to give big credit to Tatum. He's done really well with Hickey because I think even Hickey would admit himself sometimes he's got a bit of a shocking play in him. He'll have a shocking turnover. He had one, I remember, he'll come up the court and throw it and it'll just go out of bounds. He'll drive to the bucket, get caught under pressure and throw it out. But he's just does some magical things. He gets in the right nice positions for people to dish him the ball. He finishes with those reverse layups. Great on those offensive boards. He's even hitting a couple of threes, which is not his game, which is huge.
Filthy bank threes.
Filthy bank. The bank was open on Christmas, which is very, very rare. So he killed it. Big fan of Hickey, and I agree with you here.
Absolutely killed it. Now, another get up for the Xmas game. And I've got to give it to him because he was all heart out there and it was shit what happened to him. And I'll get to that in a second. But my get up for Sydney was Alex Tui. Now, he's a next star and the league's going to absolutely miss him when he goes to the NBA next season because there's no doubt this kid's going to get signed. But he absolutely killed it. He finished with 25 and 4, plus he had 3 steals and a block in 32 minutes. Now, moving on to my get out for the Xmas game.
Can I give you a nickname for Tui?
Tui.
He's got to be, I feel like. Come on.
God.
I feel like
no more dad jokes. I can't stand
that's a great nickname.
No.
Alex, take it to the NBA with you, mate.
Oh, I feel like a Tui. Okay.
I feel like. That's his nickname.
We'll get him a shirt that's got Tui's on it.
Yes.
And we'll send it over.
But he was outstanding in that game. And I know you're going to click on to another get out, but man, that dude should have not come off the court when he was hot. So, yeah, kick off.
Speaking about that, Brian Gorgian. Get out, mate. Just leave. Just leave.
Stop it.
Like, enough said.
He's a legend. The GOAT.
The GOAT.
The GOAT.
He's living in his glory days from championships that he won
goodness.
25 years ago, mate. Like, you cannot pull someone off like that in a game.
That's what she said. Keep going.
Oh, my Lord. Mate, we're trying to have a podcast here.
I know.
Oh,
I know.
Goodness me.
I know.
But you cannot just take someone off the court when they're in red hot form like that. He did it back when he was coaching the Hawks, and he used to piss everyone off when he was down here. And he did it in the Olympics, and he cost us the Olympics. He did it when people were in form. He did it when people were shooting the lights out, Goulding, whoever he had on the floor, shooting the lights out. Nah, you're coming off because of one mistake. One mistake, and then that was it. The person didn't see the court again until, it was time for, oh, shit, we need this person back on. And I don't know. I think he's going to ruin Sydney's chances of a championship this year. And I know that's a big call.
But they've still got a chance to get another import in. Do not underestimate Gorge and the Kings. I'm going to stop you there. I know, it was a poor decision. Every coach makes some poor decisions. But I'm a Gorge fan. I know he's come to the end of his career. Some people doubt some of the decisions he makes, but we'll judge him at the end of this season. That's all I'll say. If they get another import, look out. Look out. And if they get Bull Cole back as well, goodness.
Yeah,
my goodness. So, sure.
All right.
Zip it.
I'll move on to Brisbane.
Okay.
My get up for the Brisbane game. Again, comes down to Deadly Love Bite, and I'm going to give it to All Heart as well, this one. Now, both of them were just firing again on all 4 cylinders. Hickey again, 12, 3, 4, and 2 steals. The man did it all. He covered the court. He did absolutely everything. He got in, got it done. Again, bank was open. Hit a 3 there at one stage. And
that was
just
a closeout 3 too. It's nice just to finish the game.
100%. And the smile and the confidence that he had when he was coming off the court there at one stage, you could just tell he was locked in. He was focused. He was ready to go. Now, Lockie, he had 11, 3, and 2, and he had 2 blocks as well. He was an absolute beast out there, giving it all of his heart, as you said, and just leaving nothing out on the floor. But speaking of something who left pretty much everything on the floor, and I mean, literally left everything on his bedroom floor at home before he left for the game. Whiny Sparkle the Bullock.
Whiny Sparkle the Lockdown.
Whiny Lockdown. Mate, I love you to bits, and I think you're
Are you saying get out on him?
I'm saying get out, but there's a reason.
Mate.
There's a reason.
Mate, super fan, Matt Dawson, he wants this guy signed to a lifetime contract. That's how much he loves Whiny. And you're telling me you want him out.
I don't want him.
Give me your reasons.
I don't want him out, but I want him to get out of the funk that he's in at the moment.
Okay. He had a big game against Cotton. There's always going to be a little bit of a letdown. So what's your take?
He had a massive game against Cotton. Huge game. There's no way you can keep the MVP in the league to 13 points in one quarter and then he doesn't score for the rest of the game.
Huge.
That was absolutely huge.
So what do you do here?
That Christmas game, he let Adams fly past him. Yeah. He let Cooks fly past him. He let Kuat fly past him. Feel like a tui. Yes, he let him past him as well. But he was 1 from 8. The shot selection there was just abysmal.
We've got to live. I think sometimes we've got to live with that, but 1 from 8's not pretty. We didn't sign him to be a scorer. We signed him to be that 3 and D sort of guy. 1 from 8's not pretty though. We take 3 from 5 from him most games.
Yeah.
You're not expecting big deal of points from Wani.
No.
Just want to lock in, hit some key shots. And I felt like he did hit some big shots in that Brisbane game. He hit a corner 3 to pretty much close it out. He hit some, he didn't get going until that last little quarter, but I'm sticking up for you, Wani. I'm sticking up for you.
And he didn't need to in that Brisbane game, and he didn't need to in that Christmas game because the defense was on point there at one stage. And there was a point where it was in the Christmas game on point, and even in the Brisbane game was on point defense. But for me, it came down to that shot selection in the Christmas game. He was better in Brisbane. He was 3 from 6 for the game, so he was 50%. But 1 from 8, he is a better player than that, and we know that. It's why he's played Olympics. It's why we signed him in the first place. It's why we keep on re-signing him. It's why we'll probably, again, sign him for life, probably. Ooh. Wouldn't surprise me.
Also, I'll be happy.
But, I respect him. The fans love him. I respect him. He's a great bloke to chat to. He's great to see on the court, have fun, and all the rest of it. But I just think the shot selection could have been a bit better.
Fair enough.
But that's it for Get Up and Get Out for this week.
Nice.
But
I think that segment might come back.
I think so too.
Yeah, I like it.
I think so too. We'll gauge.
What's next, my man?
I think next you should just give me a same game multi because I was horrible last week, mate. So I need the tips.
Here we go. Well, this week it's obviously the Phoenix game. I've gone very Phoenix orientated in my multi. I feel like the Hawks are quite hard to pick because you don't know who's going to deliver on the day. So I try to stay away from the Hawks players. So my same game multi this week, I've got local junior Angus Glover, good old fan of pants or burgering. Some people might call him, mate. Those two might stick. I love him. He's a great kid. Probably he would never be on any flog watch, I can tell you that. One of the greatest guys in the NBL, Angus Glover. I've got him to go 10-plus points. I think you can get a couple of threes, get to the bucket a couple of times. Big fan of Angus Glover. So 10-plus points. I think Matt Hurt, he can hit that 3. Been doing really well on that this year. I've got him for 2+ threes. I've got under, this is a huge line, under 202.5 points. I know the Hawks have been rattling up some points lately, but surely they've got to get tired and they're going to have to slow down a little bit. And 202 is huge. So I'm going under. And I'm going Derek White. He hasn't been huge scoring-wise, but I think he's a very good facilitator. You love that word, facilitator. I've got him for 4+ assists, and that's going to get you $9.50. So, again, bet responsibly. Ryan Tucker, get on. See if you can do it. Again, I will not put my money on, so you're a better chance.
Oh, goodness me, mate. Goodness me. Now, I got to ask you with that one. Is that just strategy because you want us to win and you're doing your reverse psychology trick? Or is that just purely for the fact that you know it might potentially go through?
A little bit of both. I actually think that this is a chance. I think Angus Glover 10+ is an absolute moral, and I think Matt Hurt 2+ threes is the overs and unders is probably a little bit like, but I just went with something that I felt. And Derek White Jr. 4+, that could go either way, but I just have a feeling about it. I think there's 2 locks and two iffies on there.
Yeah, 100%. Well, unfortunately, that's all we have time for today because some of us have to go for an afternoon nap and some of us have real work to do. There's not much else that we can say. It was a longer episode than normal, purely for the fact that there was too much to uncover. 2 massive big games. Big shout out to the boys over at the Wildcaps Wrap that have done a lot of help with this episode today. We've been bantering back and forth this week, but it's purely for the fact that they know that they could never beat us.
Oh, don't forget the Tassie Takeovers boys as well, JD and DB.
100%. Those boys are killing it down there at the moment.
Killing it.
Absolutely killing it. I would love nothing more for them blokes to come up here and have finals in the Illawarra, sinking a few tinnies with those blokes on the beach. There'd be nothing I would love more than that.
I've heard Ryan, if he gets the next Mouldy, he might shout us all a trip to Sweden. We'll do it from out of Sweden for that game. What do you reckon? What do you reckon, Ryan?
Tux, if you're gonna do
the
that
multi
for
goes
us,
in, come on, get on
the multi, mate. Put it on the business card. Get on it. Let's just fly all out.
I just want to wish everyone a happy new year. 2025 is a new, fresh year for everyone. The only thing that doesn't change in 2025, still no chip talk. Love ya. Go the Hawks.
Go the Hawks. Have a good one, guys.